Hey everybody, welcome to FN's Downtown Studios. John Ramdeen and Robin Black with you. Yesterday we announced UFC 211 going down in Texas, the main event. Junior Dos Santos taking on Stipe Miocic in a rematch for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the World. The co-featured bout of that fight card going down in the great state of Texas. The submission master, former heavyweight champion, Fabricio Werdum taking on Big Ben Rothwell, and it seems like that Ben Rothwell's going to get tapped out. However, if you remember that fight with Josh Barnett, he ended up choking out Josh Barnett. I know a lot of people out there say, wow, is this guy going to be able to tap out Fabricio Werdum? I'm not feeling it, but who knows? It's the fight game. Punch somebody in the head a couple of times, kick them in the melon, and maybe you could submit them.
Just to be honest with you, when you said submission master, I did think you were going to say Big Ben Rothwell.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I gave him submission of the year for that go-go choke on Josh Barnett. Never, ever been submitted ever in his life. Pretty spectacular stuff. Ben Rothwell is a unique character in sort of the way he expresses himself, but the way he expresses fighting, too. You know, he breaks a lot of rules, man. Those rules were meant for people other than him. All kinds of rules, they say, in fighting. You must keep your foot in this position. You must blade this way. You must, well, these rules create structures and expectations in your opponent. And guys who break the rules can end up surprising people, unsettling them, making them uncomfortable. They can also find themselves unconscious. Because when you do break the rules, and Greg Jackson and others say there are no rules or guidelines, but Big Ben Rothwell colors outside the lines when he fights, and that's what makes me and many of us enjoy watching him fight.
What about the truths of fundamentals in fighting? For example, most fighters at 170 pounds, they are not going to be able to deal with Demian Maia on the ground. That's just a fact. He is just such a master. I guess the counter argument to that, if you're the TriStar team, it's like, well, Rory McDonald, we were fine dealing with Demian Maia. But for the most part, unless you have a certain level of expertise, you can't deal with these guys. Stephen Thompson, for example. Not everybody can deal with Stephen Thompson because of his mobility, because his dexterity on both sides, his ability to change and use movement. When we're in this, a guy like Fabricio Werdum, he's that type of guy. He has answers and he has details on the ground that if you're not a world champion in that area, you don't have them.
Hey man, Big Ben Rothwell will see Werdum's truths and raise him some alternate truths. And the truth is the truth is the truth. We've discussed this before, but if we're asked to go into the forest, there's 50 trees, and you go and you pick the ugliest tree you can find, and I pick the most beautiful tree I can find, we may pick the same tree. The truth is it's just a tree. And the truth is this is just fighting. Rules are there whether the real rules, the true rules are rules that don't care if you believe in them. But those are few and far between. If I choke you long enough, you will pass out unconscious. If I hit you in the head hard enough, it may cause you to lose consciousness. Those are truths. But whether or not I'm allowed to put an underhook here, or it's okay if I square up, those are truths if you choose to believe them. And Ben Rothwell, in many cases, chooses to disbelieve these truths, and he's made it work for him. And can you outskill Fabricio Werdum? I'm not sure that you can. I'm not sure there are many humans walking the earth, certainly at heavyweight, that can outskill him. So you change the reality. You don't accept his reality. You force a different reality on him, and you force him to accept it.
What do you expect from the former champion Fabricio Werdum? We know about his submission game. We know about his grappling abilities. But over the years, working at King's MMA, we've seen that he's a Muay Thai guy that constantly moves forward, so much so that it got him knocked out in his fight with Stipe Miocic. Does he go back to the drawing board, or is it a scenario where they believe, we just slipped on a banana peel, this has been working for us in the past, we're going to continue to execute this type of game plan?
A lot of times when we look at a certain fight, people will make a judgment. Again, the truth is that Travis lost that fight because Edmund. The truth is that Werdum beat Travis because Werdum made big adaptations. He was a different fighter. He no longer charges in. It's no longer all pressure.
He threw a flying sidekick to his face.
Exactly. That's breaking rules right there off the top. That's introducing other concepts. But Werdum had a brilliant fight against Travis. It showed how far he's grown. And for some guy up somewhere hanging out with Big Ben, or some guy sitting at a desk talking about alternate truths and breaking rules, if you're Werdum, you're like, I'll show you how the rules work. My 1-2, to an underhook, to a takedown, to a dominant position. You bring it back to those fundamentals. The issue isn't that fundamentals will not work for him. The issue is that Big Ben shouldn't try to win on fundamentals. He should break rules. And that's why this fight is so interesting. And it's underneath the heavyweight title fight. So we have 4 of the best, most interesting heavyweights in the world on UFC 211.
The heavyweights will be profiled when the UFC returns to Texas. It all goes down at UFC 211.